If I cough,
Well, hello, and good morning, Success Tribe. How y'all doing this Saturday morning? How y'all doing? The weather here is pretty good. And I'm super excited to hang out outside today. But in the meantime, welcome to the Success Code. My name is Lorna Sherland. I'm your host. And on the Success Code, this is where we have conscious leadership meeting up and button up against business and real talk. So, real talk is more of what we do, and we put business in there because here's what I believe real talk brings you into authenticity, right? And if you know me, you know I'm all about how do we get to being our authentic selves, right? Most of us are wearing masks. Most of us are, people pleasers. Most of us are doing the things and in the rules of what everybody else told us, and we are yet to step into our own greatness. So that's what we do on the show, and I'm super excited today to have my dear friend Jill Schultz to have this conversation with. Jill and I have been friends for a couple of years, and you know how sometimes you have friends who I know this is gonna sound weird, but just stick with me. Remember, we're doing real talk. You have some friends who just love you just because. Those kinds of friends. If you are here and you want to put it in the chat, say yes, you have those friends. If you're listening to the replay, say yes, you have those friends. And if you don't have those friends, stick with us because we will be that for you. That's who Jill is for me. And I'm super excited to be in this conversation today. We're going to be talking about the myths around confidence. It's been coming up in a lot of the previous shows. So if you haven't watched the previous shows, y'all better go watch it because there's some juice up in there. So we're going to be talking about that today. And if you have questions, as we are here today, if you have questions, I want you to jump into the chat and put your questions in. We'll answer them as much as we can. If not, I'll come back in later on and answer them on the channel. Okay. So without further ado, I want my friend Jill to go ahead and just introduce herself, tell us a little bit about herself, and then I'm going to start the conversation. Welcome, Jill Schultz. How
thank
you
you,
doing?
my friend. I'm so excited to be here with you. And I feel the same about you. I die for you. I just die for you.
Love you, love you, love you, love you.
Thank you. So, my name is Jill Schultz, and I live in beautiful San Diego, California, although it's overcast today. And I am a serial entrepreneur. I see shiny things all the time. And trust me, I'm one of those people that I say you do not want to be inside this head because there's always ideas, there's always something new to do. And I'm blessed to really love all the spaces that I've grown businesses in. I know sometimes people are in jobs that they don't like, and they feel like they're on a day-to-day grind, but I'm truly, truly blessed to do what I love every day.
Yeah. And that's a gift. That's a gift,
Oh,
right?
sure.
Because so many times people are in positions that I was talking to a man. He was actually on my show. If you go back and listen, because he said it. One of the gentlemen I interviewed previously, he was talking about the business that he's in. He's actually a manager, a CFO, or something like that for a huge corporation, and he was realizing that um, he doesn't have any joy anymore
Mm.
doing that. So stepping into what else is next for him has really been a challenge for him because he's been in that business for 40 years, and that's one of the things. That's why this confidence conversation has already started, y'all,
Mhm.
because he now, when I was having a conversation with him, I was like, okay, how do I support him, right? And one of the things that came up is, you get to decide what you want now. you know like, you don't get to stay in what's not bringing you joy anymore. So many times we do that at the expense of ourselves, and it's some most of the times unconscious. What do you say about that?
Well, I think that I've been really lucky because I'm a risk taker. And
Mhm.
I have always had the confidence in myself to know that whatever I was going to step into, I was going to succeed at. So
Mhm.
I've always had that next level confidence to do that. And it makes me really sad when people are just, doing the day to day and feeling like they have to do whatever's not making them happy just to pay the bills, because
Mhm.
like the exciting part is when you step out and you trust in yourself and you take that risk on yourself, to do what's going to bring you joy and make you happy every day.
Yeah, yeah. But sometimes most people don't think about um how happiness can be so simple, instead of anyway. I went ahead of myself because usually when we start the show, Jill, I ask my guests, what does success mean to them? Because success is relative. So I like to ask that question so I can hear the different scenarios of what people think success is. So, what does success mean to you?
Success to me means just that same thing, that I get to get up every day and I get to work the businesses that I love and know that I'm supported doing what I love.
Mm.
That truly to me is success. I always say I I get to sleep in every day. This is early for me, people. Lord knows this is early for me, which
That's how
is
I know she loves me, right? Because she's showing up
yeah,
so
no, I
early
was
as
I
to
was
wake up.
excited to do this, especially on a Saturday morning, right?
I
But
know.
I'm wearing a hat today. Um, but I always say I'm so grateful and so blessed that I do not have I can sleep in, and sleeping in is like 8:30 for me. It's not like I'm sleeping until 11 o'clock in the morning, and that I'm not sitting at a cubicle. I have the freedom to sit in my beautiful home and, really do my work around what makes me happy in life. And one of my things that I say every day is I have massive prosperity around me in all the areas of my life with plenty of time to just be.
That's good.
Yeah.
That is so good.
Yeah.
Plenty of prosperity around you.
In all
So
areas of my life
in
with
all
plenty of
areas of
time
your life.
to simply be.
Oh,
You
wow.
can you can borrow that if you'd like. I haven't trademarked it yet.
That's really good. That's
Yeah.
really good. It's- And side note, we're gonna come back to confidence. Confidence is all in this conversation, y'all. So just track it, okay?
Yeah.
Um, because prosperity, just that sentence alone, the reason why I feel is so good is because I could hear the level of confidence in that
Yeah.
state that you
It
have,
gives me full body
right?
chills. It gives me full body chills. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So how do people get to that? Like share with me like one or two stories that you've been through to get to that point in your life where you can get goosebumps from saying a statement like that because that's a powerful statement. That's a
Yeah.
powerful statement that I know for a fact that people who have a ton of money in the bank, people who have a lot of businesses, people who have, the idea of success that's usually perpetrated in the world, a lot of expensive things, da, 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 da. Most some of them don't have that statement. They
Yeah.
don't even have a concept of what that could look like for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you've been through? Because I'm sure you've been through some things that have
No,
led
I've
you
never
to
been through
this.
anything. No challenges in my life. Well, an example comes up for me of when I first started my event business. I had a couple other jobs, but I was working for a company that this was 30, oh my God, how many years ago? This was 27 years ago when I started my business. And I was working for a company that was doing yellow pages. That's what I had to figure out the time, because it was yellow pages.
Yellow Pages, y'all. I'm sure some of y'all
If you're
watching
young and you don't know what
know what
yellow
Yellow
pages
Pages
are,
is.
it was an actual phone book. Like you couldn't go online and just Google somebody's phone number. It was a thick book, and it had white pages and it had yellow pages. And the yellow pages were businesses and ads and things like that. And I was working in the online yellow pages. It was the worst sales job in the entire world. And I hated my job so bad. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. And I just decided one day to take a risk on myself, and a business, one of my business opportunities popped into my head, and I just ran with it. And the level of freedom and prosperity, like happiness, prosperity, time, prosperity, joy, all of those types of prosperity in my life, all of a sudden just opened up for me.
Mhm.
And it gave me the opportunity to just simply be like, if I want to, I can, after we're done talking today, if this was a Thursday, say, I could get up and go make spaghetti sauce in the kitchen if I wanted to. I could go to the beach if I wanted to. Like, I value and am so grateful for the space that I've created for myself because of, stepping out and really taking a chance on myself.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. You know why it's so good?
Tell me, baby.
Jill, it's so good because that to me is debunking the myth that comes from, confidence comes from knowing everything. You didn't know what you were going to step into when you stepped into that, right? You just knew
Yeah.
that you wanted something different, and you actually just went ahead, took the download, and stepped into it. That's guys.
That's an entrepreneur. That's what we do. We jump
That's
out
how
of the
we roll.
building and build, and what is the saying? You jump out of the building and build the
You
stairs
know,
on the way down,
yeah,
right?
build the stairs or build the parachute on the
Build the
way down,
parachute on the way
right?
down. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And the truth is, confidence actually comes from being able to step out, like you said, fail if it's necessary, fail publicly if necessary,
Mhm.
show up, just show up, just
Yeah,
show up. You
yeah.
know, I remember when I just started this online thing with coming on camera. The other day I was listening to myself on an interview, and I was like, oh wow, because I was before,
I
you know.
sound good. That is some wisdom I just laid down.
when when I just started, I'm like, oh my god, I don't even want to listen to myself,
I'm
right?
amazing.
And I'm sharing this with you as an example of, listen, you gotta show up imperfect. You gotta show up and just do
Mm,
the thing, even as, because you know what I noticed as I'm coming along, as I'm building this momentum and building this movement, I'm seeing so many successful women who are stuck in the same lane because they've been successful in that lane, and not realizing that, you get to check yourself to see when the next season is to start. You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
And because they're so quote unquote successful and it looks good on the outside, and they're dying on the inside because there's so much more there that they're not even willing to go look at,
yeah.
like you did. So, is there anything else you want to say about that? Because I know we both are on a journey, and what else you want to say? I don't want
Well,
to take a conversation. This is a conversation, right?
I
So,
know. I'm trying to think about a way to say this.
mhm,
I think some people innately have it in them
mhm,
to just take chances on themselves, right?
mhm,
I was built that way. That's my DNA. And that can be also to the detriment of myself sometimes as well.
mhm,
But but it can be learned. Like, you can learn how to do this. And if this isn't something that's innately in you, one of my favorite quotes is, life happens outside your comfort zone. And
mhm,
it is so uncomfortable sometimes to look at that space. But let me tell you, the other side of that, I know you don't swear, but effing magical. The other side of stepping into your true power, and whatever risk that is
mhm,
magical. So if you do not have that innately in you, figure out how you can learn to do that for yourself.
mhm.
Take that risk on yourself, because I couldn't imagine just being in a job. I always say, I say this, with some swear words I won't now. I'm the worst employee in the entire world. You do not want to be my boss because I will do the opposite of what you tell me to do. And
Yeah.
I don't do it on purpose. It's just
Yeah.
in me. It's like I don't need you to micromanage me.
Yeah.
I can figure this out on my own. That's just how I'm built. But if
Yeah.
you're not, figure out a way to step into whatever that looks like for you because it really is powerful on the other side.
Yeah. I love that. Me too, girl. I'm the worst.
Oh,
I'm the worst employee you could
mm,
ever
mm,
have. Oh my God. Um, because I just don't think normal, right? I remember when I had a quote unquote failure in 2008 when the market was going to crap in real estate, right? Because if y'all know me, you all know I'm a real estate broker. And back then, when the world was going to hell in a handbasket, I was sitting there at my desk one day and I'm going, oh my God, what is this? Right? Unfamiliar, couldn't understand what was happening. I was so used to doing deals all the time. Remember,
mhm.
my first year in the business, I did 25 deals. Who does that? Right? Um, and consistently throughout, right? So when 2008 happened and then everything stopped, I was like, okay, what we gonna do? That was super uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And I remember um sitting at my desk and I said to myself, okay, what checks do I have coming? And I remember the last check I got before I thought this was the end of it. I was going to lose my house, lose my cars, lose the business, lose everything. 2,400 and some change was the last check that came in. And I had to sit at my desk and really figure out what could I do still in the same industry to bring income in. Meanwhile, top producers in my market were falling like flies.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I created a business out of it. Another section of real estate I created just out of that
That's
failure.
confidence. That's
Hold on,
confidence.
right?
Yeah.
Because, because the rest of them left.
Yeah.
Right? So what I want you guys to hear right now is the confidence to take the action in the uncomfortable is where the juice is, right?
Mhm.
Because then you get to see what you're made of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm going to encourage all of you listening to take a chance on yourself.
Yeah.
Even if you're successful, there's more. Believe me, there's more,
Yeah.
right? So take a chance on yourself and step into it. Go
So
ahead.
I was gonna say, I think this was very evident during COVID as well. And I think right
Mhm.
now with everything that's going on with the stock market and, the tariffs and all the things that are going on in the world right now, I remember when COVID hit, it was March 9th for me. And my event business completely just fell apart.
Mhm.
And I said to myself, okay, you can do one of two things here. I can either put my head in the sand and be an ostrich, or I can start listening to podcasts and businesses and anybody who thrived in a downturn and really focus on that type of energy than to just completely lose it and, lose my house, lose all the things, because that could have happened. So I
Mhm.
think it's really important. And I think the term pivot is still really relevant.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
just you got to hunker down and you got to really see what you're made of. And it's so beautiful because you're right. That's like when these beautiful ideas can happen. That's when you really see what you're made of, you
Mhm,
know?
mhm. The power that we have in us. And what's translated through this conversation for me is feel the fear and do it anyway. Because the myth out there is that confident people never feel fear. That's a myth, y'all. You
Yeah.
don't wait to get confident. You gotta be confident.
Yeah.
The other day I was interviewing I forgot who I was interviewing. I do so much of these things, I forget who I talk to sometimes. So just bear with me. I forgot who I was talking to. And I was saying, one of the things that I disagree with in our industry as coaches is the confidence coach. right? Because when somebody says, I can teach you how to be confident, you can it, I believe you can teach confidence.
Mm-mm.
What do you say about that?
No, I don't think you can teach confidence either. I think that you can build people up, and I think you can build their self-esteem, and I think you can help them with that. And from there comes confidence. But I don't think you can.
Yeah. So when somebody says they're going to teach you to be confident, that's another myth,
Mm,
right? The confidence has to come from within. You got to go through the thing, like we're talking about, all the
yeah,
stuff we've been through, right?
yeah,
To actually build the trust in yourself,
in yourself.
so that you can have the confidence to step into the fear. Because here's the thing: the fear isn't going anywhere.
No.
The fear, I was sharing with another person, the fear is a it's an indicator. The fear is an indicator. So when you develop the confidence, then you can step through the fear,
Yeah.
right? Meaning the fear is still there, but you're managing how you can walk through it, and move and create. We're creative beings. I think that's part of the problem, is that we don't realize that we're creative beings, meaning it's not that we're literally creating, because what we see is coming out of our imagination. When you're a kid, you imagined, building this, uh, maybe just a dollhouse or something, and you
Hmm.
didn't know what was going to come of it, and then you get a Christmas gift, right? And you're like, oh, right. That's a simple example. Do you have an example you want to give?
No, I was just thinking about fear though, because whatever you're feeling is a lie anyway, you know?
Mm,
And I
mhm.
love that one time, I don't remember who coached me, maybe you did, because I have coached with Lorna. And by the way, if you haven't coached with Lorna, coach with Lorna, because my life, like, there's so much to talk about there. There's so much meat on that.
That's another success code
That's,
episode.
yeah, we'll do another episode. But um, what the exercise was is to think about whatever it is that you're freaking out about right now.
Mhm.
Start writing down the worst outcome that could ever happen that's related to that. And 99% of the time, you're way, way, way over exaggerating what that actually could really be for yourself. But I love that exercise because it takes you to that limit of the worst thing that can happen. And then you
Mhm.
can manage that emotion and be like, okay, well, that probably is not going to happen, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And then from there create the
Create.
idea of, just here's what I want you guys to hear from that. That was so good, Jill, on so many levels. Um, what I want you to hear from what she just said. The same energy it took to create the worst case scenario, the over exaggeration of what could happen, right? From a negative perspective, you can use the same energy to create the possibility of, oh my gosh, what if it did work?
Yeah.
Right? So that's a powerful, powerful exercise to actually take yourself through, so that you can see that's on the other side is so
Yeah.
much, it's so much better. So when it comes to confidence and um, I think I want to go deeper on the knowing part of it, because you shared that when you were in that job, you just knew you wanted something different and you stepped into it. Did you know? Because there's a myth that says confidence comes from knowing everything. Some
I
people
know
don't.
anything. I didn't know anything. Yeah, no, it was just a really good idea. And I thought, so this is funny. So I did a little due diligence. I may have called in sick one day to do said due diligence. I actually got fired. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now.
The
I got,
truth. Yes,
yeah,
this
I
is the
did.
show that we tell the truth,
Yeah,
y'all.
I did.
Tell the truth and shame the devil.
I got fired, but I got fired because I took a day off and I really, like I said, if I can book 15 appointments today, I'm going to quit my job. So I was at home just on the phone. And this was before caller ID. And my boss called me. I was like, hi, this is Jill. He was not a dumb man. He knew what was happening.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I
Mhm.
went in the next day and I handed in my letter of resignation. And I mean, we both knew. Come on. It was funny. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was such an exciting day because no, I didn't know anything. All I knew was if I put one foot in front of the other, okay, what do I have to do right now in order for me to have the confidence to be able to take this next step? So I figured out what that was, and that was making as many calls as I could and booking at least 15 appointments. That was the first step. So it isn't about knowing anything because I didn't. It was just about being in action. And
Mhm.
I think being in action is the cure for anything. Like if you
Mhm.
are financially struggling right now, you getting in action and making a phone call is going to immediately raise your vibration and bring you to another level of confidence. Like it's all about just taking that next step, next step, next step, next step. Oh, you
Yeah.
make you cry? That was so good. I made you cry.
You making me cry over here since we started. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's so powerful, Jill. I always say that movement is one of the answers, right? Movement is the answer. So um
Get out
movement
of your pity party.
is
Get out of your pity party and just take action.
yeah. And the action it doesn't have to look like a certain way, by the way. One of the things that we talk about all the time is, don't be so attached to what it gets to look like,
Mm,
right? Just move. Whatever that is for you, just don't sit there and wallow in it,
yeah.
right? I love that. All right. So I don't know if we want to switch gears. I want to stay in this. No, I want to switch gears a little bit because I want to talk about identity in a way
Okay.
that because a lot of the times I believe self-confidence is lacking because of a lack of awareness of an identity or an attachment to an identity that doesn't support who we are. What do you say about that?
Say that again. I'm not
Self-confidence.
identifying with what you're trying to.
you know
My identity is not shifting. I'm still
yeah,
on. No,
I
I
love
can go there with you. I can go there with you. But what?
Absolutely. And thank you.
That's
Don't get me,
honest.
listen, truth. This is the truth show.
Yeah.
But I want to just take a minute to say hi to Faye Muha. You made a comment about what's true. So I want to hear what you're hearing that is true for you. So if you could put that, and thank you for being here, by the way, and
Yes.
being in the conversation. So, what I was saying is self confidence comes from an identity, right? And most people are in, oh, Felicia Mohammed? Felicia. Uh, okay. Self confidence comes from an identity, right? So, I want to hear from you like let's talk about how people are in this identity crisis that is causing them not to have the confidence in themselves. What do you say about that? Does that make sense now?
Yes.
So let me give you an example. One of the things that I see is a lot of people, their identity is in um, being a wife,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Or their identity is in being a mother,
Hmm.
right? And take the case that there's a possibility that that's a false identity, that's a false attachment to that identity, right? And in that false attachment to that identity, they're not confident that the possibility of being an entrepreneur is available to them. Make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
So that's what I want to talk about because there are a lot of people out there in the world who are struggling, and they're struggling in silence, in especially in that conversation as
Hmm.
a mom, being a mom and having the desire to do something else but not the confidence to step
Yeah.
into it because
Yeah.
of the identity that they've held on to for so long.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and I think that comes a lot from how we talk to ourselves. You
Mhm.
know, we're always listening to that negative voice inside of our head. And as we know, that voice was there to protect us, but it doesn't serve us anymore, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
So really being able to shift and get somebody asked me this question the other day, and I think it's just so magical. And that's, what does your soul want?
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
What does my soul want? Because when you can get down to the really core essence of that question, and you might have to sit in it for a while, because a lot of times we'll be saying, "Well, I'm a great mom," and I'm not a mom, so but you know, what other attachments I've put on myself, like I'm not an entrepreneur, I'm not smart enough. You know, it comes from those constant voices, that negative talk that we're saying to ourselves all the time.
Mhm.
So asking yourself, what does my soul want? And starting from there, and then changing the conversation of how you're talking to yourself around whatever that looks like for you. When I asked that question, Lorna, what does your soul want? What is yours?
I'm doing exactly what my soul wants right now. And it took me a while to get here, and I know there's more.
Yeah.
But my
So what was
soul,
that identity? What was
say
that
that again.
identity? What was that identity that you were in before?
Yeah. Oh, a girl, great question.
Mhm. I
A
just brought
great,
that. I
yeah,
just brought that.
you just did.
I
You
just
did.
did.
So, I a couple of identities, by the way. And by the way, you can be attached to more than one, just
Yeah.
so you know. Okay. So I was attached to my identity was in money, number one. My identity was in being a wife, number two. My identity was attached to being a mom, number three. And my identity was attached to being uh, in a certain season of my life, I was attached to being a top producer.
Mhm.
Like, when I say I was attached to being a top producer for a long time, since I was in corporate America, I was attached to being a top producer. Like, if my numbers didn't line up and be number one, blah 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 blah. Raise your hands. Who is hearing me right now? Right? If you if I'm saying you, but I'm talking about me, right? But
Yes.
I want you to see yourself in this conversation. If you weren't the one to get there first in the morning and be the last one to leave because you are such a great employee attached to the title,
Mhm.
right? In corporate America, I was chasing the title like nobody's business. When I started in corporate America, I started from the bottom. I was a biller in an advertising agency, right? Crunching numbers. I left corporate America from an advertising agency as a controller. Consider that, right?
Mm.
So yeah, so being
I
attached to
just
that,
I just see happy bubbles around you in that job. Like, oh my
right?
god.
So
Yeah.
but being attached to chase because I saw what I was chasing was the identity I saw around me, which was top executives. I was always in those meetings. So I attached myself to the idea that, oh, I want to be that person. Well, is that really you? Is that really your destiny? Right? Is that really what your soul, like if you ask me, what does my soul want? Is that what your soul wants? Right? Um, and so I saw it there, and I saw it in even real estate, right? Being a top producer in all the companies I was in until I went on my own, same thing, because it was a pattern. Until I recognized it to shift it was when I came into the world of transformation,
Yeah.
right? So what my soul wanted was to be of service. What my soul wanted was to be of contribution. So now as I'm that's what caused me to start the success code,
Yes.
right? Because I want to bring this awareness to people, especially female entrepreneurs who are stuck in the cycle of quote unquote success that is not their idea of success. It's the programming of the success that we've been taught. How about now we break that rule? How about now we break the chain and create from our own identity? Who do we say we want to be? Who do you say you want to be? Right?
Yeah.
So that's my soul. That's what my soul is calling
Yeah.
me towards right
Well, and
now.
you're really good at it too, so thank
Oh,
God.
darling.
Right? Yeah.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah. So I will encourage women to really dig deep. You know, yesterday I was in a conversation with a lady, and she was saying something similar to this, but I could hear. You could tell them who I am, or you tell them who I am, right? The listener, right? Anyway,
Yeah.
so but underneath what she was saying, she was attached to some things that are not serving her at all, right? Uh, but for her and by the way, this person I was speaking to is an eight-figure earner,
Mm.
right? Eight-figure earner, but still has an attachment to something that if she lets go of it, it's gonna blow up, you know? So anyway, if do you have anything else you want to add to
No,
that?
I was just thinking, even like eight-figure earners, we all have that onion that we keep peeling back, right? There's always
Mhm.
the next layer of that stinky onion.
Yep, but the willingness though to peel it back. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Say that again, what?
The willingness to peel it back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, and that goes back to life happens outside your comfort zone, look at
Yeah.
that one thing in your life that is just nagging at you and face it head on, because once you can release that, just like you
Mhm.
said, if she could release that one thing, she'd fly, like, she would just explode, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
gotta get uncomfortable, that's for sure. You gotta get
Uh,
uncomfortable.
yeah. So why do you think that in the same vein, right? Why do you think that um people who we know are so brilliant in what they do in the world, why do you think sometimes they still don't have the confidence to step into the newness
Give
of
me an
what's
example. Give me an example.
even the lady I just talked to you about,
Yeah.
right? She's a perfect example
Because
of
she's afraid. It's the fear. It comes back to the fear. It comes back to not, that one thing that you're just like, well, if I did this, this could happen. I think it's always based on fear, don't you?
mm,
Or
I don't
maybe
know
it's
if
a blind spot too. It could be a blind spot. Maybe it's something that you don't know is holding you back.
yeah, that could be. That could be. See, so one of the things that I want to debunk in this conversation too is, I believe we use fear as this crutch,
Oh yeah.
right? Of okay, I'm fearful, so I'm not going to take the action, or I'm fearful, so I'm not going to say anything. I'm fearful, and using the fear as the crutch so that we stay in our comfort zone. So
Absolutely.
I want to debunk that too, right? There must be something else that keeps us stuck, and maybe this is just coming out of this organic conversation, and maybe this is something we get to explore deeper, right? If you're already successful and you're listening to this conversation, what do you feel is the thing that's keeping you from your next level? I want to hear from you. So type it in the comments. Um, Anybody who's here, please share this video with your friend, your bestie, and have them answer that question.
I can't
Because
hear you.
one person answers, and that awareness of whatever their answer is could unlock the blind spot of the rest of us,
Answers in the
that would be
room.
super, in super
The
yes,
answer is
yes,
always in the
yes.
room.
So yeah, it's always there. And here's the other piece of it too, right? some people some people they don't want to answer because they're trying to be humble. We don't want that. We want you to be bold, be a step out and share with us in your brave confidence what is the thing that is supporting you to shift into your brilliance. So okay. This has been a great conversation. Let's see where we want to go next. I have a question for you, Jill.
Okay.
What is the thing?
Oh boy.
What is the thing for you that um, if confidence wasn't required for you to attempt it this year, what's the thing that you would do no holds barred?
Find love.
Wow. I love that.
Mhm.
I love that. Do you think that confidence is getting in the way of that right now?
Absolutely. Yeah. It comes down to the story of not being worthy, not being lovable, that all stems from that's all about confidence, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. We didn't even talk about that. Say more. Let's dig a little bit deeper for the time we have left. I want to talk a little bit more about that because you know what happens, right? When anything comes up in the room, it's there for someone. It's not just there for us, right? It's
Yeah.
there for other people who are also in the room or who hear this on the replay. So let's talk a little bit more about the effects of not worthy, not enough, not all the things. How does it affect confidence, and how are you shifting into the confidence that's gonna attract the love of your life?
Yeah, well, this has been an ongoing thing since I was little, This
Mhm.
started from trauma, and I don't know if you wanna go there, we can go there if you want to. If
Short
you don't,
version.
okay, that's fine. Um, that's totally fine. But, I've done the work. I've done the work, and I'm continuing to do the work, and I'm continuing it's funny because the one thing that we really, really, really wanna have in our life is typically the one thing that we put the less attention and the less effort on. A
Write that
really good
one down.
exercise, yeah, a really good exercise to do is write down the different areas of your life, like health and fitness, family, faith, relationships, wealth, business, and write on those the number that corresponds with your level of success in that area, and start with 10. 10 could be your best, and then whatever that one is that has a one is the thing that you most likely want the most in your life, but the thing that you're putting the less attention on,
Hmm. Yeah.
because there's fear around it, there's not confidence around it. It all comes down to that, right? It all comes down to how confident you are in believing that you can have that.
Hmm.
And so I highly recommend that you do that, and then you look at that one thing that has a one, and that's your focus for the year. That's what
Hmm.
you, or maybe it's not the year, whatever that time frame looks like for you, but that's what you get to focus on. And so that's the area that I'm focusing on right now, is really, really doing what I need to do, doing the work around and telling myself new stories around I am lovable. I'm a unicorn. I'm a freaking unicorn. I'm
Yes, you are.
extraordinary. I mean, like, I'm amazing. These are the stories that I tell myself now, and I love mirror work more than anything in the whole wide world. Remember when you were like, "Oh my god, I don't wanna do mirror work." Every day, I'm like, "What's up, babe? You look amazing today. You're fabulous." Like, I have gotten so good at mirror work, and those are the things that are gonna help me with my confidence to step into that person who
Mhm.
gets to call that. And the other thing that I figured out was this just came up on Monday. I did not know my value.
Ooh. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I'm dancing over here.
I know. I see you. I did not know my value, which is why I'm saying I'm extraordinary. This all just started on Monday. I'm not kidding you. It literally started Monday. I'm now saying I'm extraordinary. I know and own my value, and my
Yes.
man loves that about me. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Let's go. Oh my
mhm,
gosh.
mhm.
Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, babe.
I love that because listen, y'all, this is so good. Jill, knowing your value is so here's the thing. This is for those who are having a problem with shifting into big time confidence to generate more money, more love, more friendships, great friendships, not just friendships, great
Yeah,
friendships, right? Knowing your value is like if you don't value you, ain't nobody else gonna value you.
yeah. This crosses over into business too, and I've always known that the connection that for financial abundance for me and the love connection are so intertwined.
Absolutely. It's the same
So,
energy, right?
mhm.
It's
And
just
we'll talk about this later, but, Lauren and I had a little coaching session when she was here visiting me, and I have moved forward with bringing on that business partner, and I can't wait to share. And the
oh
reason that I'm doing that is because what I have to offer people, there is a lot of value, and this is my event business.
Mhm.
I have a very unique niche business model, and I have a very unique value proposition that people are not offering. And so, when I had this breakthrough about my value, it 100% translated over into my business. I know
Absolutely.
what I have, and I know that I get to bring it, and now I can open up that space to really scale and grow. So
Absolutely.
you're part of that, boo.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, girl. You
Thank you.
see, and you had to step into that for yourself, right?
Mm.
So being willing to do the work, y'all. This is the work. Everybody was,
Do the work.
one of the yeah, one of the things that and I haven't said this in a long time, but I'll say it today. One of the things that I learned along the way, especially growing up in a Christian home, right? I have actually released the word Christian from my vocabulary. I'll use it just to give the example, but I don't call myself a Christian anymore because I
Okay.
believe that the Bible is a manual for life, right? I believe that the stories that are in the Bible are there for us to see how they apply to our lives today and to be a guide as to how to solve. It's a solution based book, right? Um, and I believe that in the beginning, um, we were created valuable.
Mm.
Everything that who we are, it's innate.
You were
So
born
when do
valuable. Yeah.
yeah. So when do we lose that piece of it, right? When did we lose that piece of ourselves? So learning how to get back to you, I'm closing the loop. When we started out, you got to figure out who you authentically are.
Yeah.
Know your value, know your worth, right?
Yeah.
Instead of grinding through and getting to the end and be like stuck there and thinking that this is it. There's no more and staying there. It's just it's a journey, right? And for us to stay standing still at any point in the journey is a disservice to yourself.
Hmm.
Always asking what's next, what's possible, right? And
Yeah.
adding value because you know who you are, how valuable you are, because we are all valuable. That's how
Yeah.
we were made,
Yeah.
you know? So I love that for you, my friend. I love
Thank you.
that. I can't wait to see what else you create from there.
Oh, it's getting so juicy right now. Things are juicy AF right now.
I
Yeah.
love
Like
that.
I'm, and another thing that it just happened was, relative to debunking. Yeah. Using fear. Um, I have been hearing for a long time, for probably over a year, lean back and receive, lean
Mm,
back and receive. And so, and I was, when I was uncovering some of the stuff around value, one of the things came up was like, I get to just lean back and receive right now. And you know what happened when I did that?
mhm.
$800 came in that day. $800
Wow.
came in that day. Yeah.
Wow.
I was just like, okay,
Yes. Allowing.
bring it. Bring it. And us as entrepreneurs, it's really hard to lean back and receive because we're always
Yeah.
in the doing, not in the being, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The art of allowing is actually a law of allowing. I'm going to
Hmm.
teach that in my event in June because I don't think a lot of people realize it's a law. So, um,
Listen, I'm going to do a little plug, a little PSA right now. If you have not signed up for her event, sign up. Like magic happens when you're around Lorna. She will
oh,
push you, and she will make you uncomfortable, but she creates magic around your life. Sorry, let me rephrase that. She helps you create magic around your life because you have this gift of just seeing people and seeing their blocks and having this beautiful space that you get to create for them, Lorna. Like you are such
mhm,
a gift to me. And,
mhm.
you and I have gone, we've known each other for about 5 years now, and you have been pivotal in all the breakthroughs that I've had in the last 5 years. You are the reason my book is here, which I dedicated
Mhm.
to her, by the way. You are, I mean, if you just need to be in Lorna's world, you just need to be in her world.
Oh, Jill, thank you so much, girl. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, thank you. Thank you for picking me.
I love you.
I love
And
you.
Did I know that you dedicated that book to
I
part?
I don't know. I sent it to you. I don't even know if you read it.
I don't think you dedicated. I don't think I knew that
Yeah,
because I
it's okay.
usually read. So y'all, thank you, my friend. Let me acknowledge you first. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. And
I got
Jill
you.
has been. I just admire how you continue to take yourself on. Um, and I also admire how you're unconditional in your friendships.
Oh,
You
thank you.
know, that's a gift that for me is it's just I can't put a price on that, right? Can't put a price on any of it. So I appreciate that. Um mm, let me just
Yeah, take it in,
pull
baby.
this one.
I'm gonna take it in too. Breathe
Yeah.
that in. That goes down like sweet honey.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I love you. I'm
So
blessed.
this is what we do on the Success Code, y'all. So if you wanted to step into success on your terms, defined by you, this is what it looks like because it doesn't get to look like everybody else's, right? I think that's a trap that we've been in for so long. And as I look back on my life, I see it. So I'm going to encourage you to look back on your life so you can see it, step into your value, walk in your purpose and create whatever you want to create, whether it's a movement, love, whatever. You get to create it for yourself without anybody's rules. You make your own rules. And I see this happening in the space right now. Yesterday, I saw a guy send an email that said, um, "The whose rules are they? Are the rules or lies?" When I saw it, I was like, okay, God, I see what you're doing, right?
What was
Um,
it? What was it? Whose rules are they? What?
whose rules are they? And I think the other part was, uh, I forgot that. I'll send you the email because I don't
Okay.
remember the header, but he was talking about breaking the rules
Okay.
because all been living by the rules that our mom gave us, the rules that our dad gave us, the rules that society has put on us and continue to put on us, i.e., COVID.
Yeah.
The rules you get to create what the rules are, and then how do you, I believe that's how we're going to shift this whole humanitarian structure. You know,
Well,
that's
that
how.
goes back to identity too, right? We stay in the identity that we've been told we're supposed to be, like the idea of being a mom, what is that identity? The idea of being a good employee, the identity of being a top salesperson. Those are
Mhm,
what those rules everybody else has put on us. We get
mhm,
to shed
mhm.
those and break free.
Yeah. So, guys, this has been an amazing conversation with my friend Jill. Jill, before we log off, we just
Yeah,
have a couple
somebody's
minutes.
asking about the event in the chat, so you might want to plug
Where
that
do
real
I
quick.
find info about the event in June? Okay, I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes, Felicia. Right now, let me just have Jill share with you guys how to stay connected to her because here's the thing: Jill is a really great entrepreneur. She's a brilliant creative mind, and you want to stay connected to her as well. So, Jill, share with them how they can find you and all the goodies
All
about
the things.
staying
Yeah.
connected.
Jill E. Schultz, how my name is on the screen. I had to use the E because Jill Schultz was already taken. So JillESchultz.com has everything. It's got my social media, it's my website, so it has everything. It has my book, it has my course, it has all the things. Jill E. Schultz, JillESchultz.com.
Nice. And here, I'm going to do a plug right now for Jill's book. Um, if you have experienced trauma in your life, I think that's a great book for you to take a look at. And if you want to have a conversation around it, just stay connected to Jill. Um, I believe she's been through a lot and she has figured out a way to be this lovely, joyful person that you're seeing on your screen today. She's just like this in real life, just like me. I'm just like this in real life. And she's here to support you.
Yeah. Can
So,
I say one thing?
go ahead.
So I love to ask the question, what is one thing only you and God know?
Ooh.
And whatever the answer is to that question is the one thing that you get to look at. We were talking about earlier that living life outside your comfort zone.
Mhm.
So that's where I thrive. I thrive in that space of really, and Lorna's right. I've had next level trauma. So I want to be the example for people when you hear my story to be like, oh my God, if she can talk about that and she can be on the other side of that, then I can certainly talk about whatever my secret is and get on the other side because
Absolutely.
beauty on the other side. Thank you for letting me say that.
Yeah, absolutely. And perfect way to close the show, right? Because that's the confidence that gets built as you're stepping through all of this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So beautifully said. Thank you, Jill.
I love
So
you.
here's the deal, guys. Somebody asked about the event. Here are a couple of things that I want you to hear. I want you to keep coming back to the success code because we're always going to bring real talk and we're always going to mix in business because it's all related, right? We are stepping into conscious leadership, not just leadership leading others, but also leading ourselves because that's how we best lead others, right? So, like, share, and subscribe to the Success Code. And coming up on not August, April 30th is the first masterclass leading to the event in June 27th to the 29th in Dallas, Texas. So be sure to watch for the masterclass, register, show up. We're going to do some of the work that we've talked about here today. We're going to do some of that work in the masterclass and deeper work at the event. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Jill, for being here. Go out there, be successful, live life on your terms, be authentic, and go create. Have a great rest of the weekend, and I'll see you all next week. Take care. Bye bye for now.